As many of you probably already know, force reset triggers, FRTs, are legal again. In fact, Rare Breed's website has been up. They've been selling triggers. Now, the triggers that they've been selling are ones that were confiscated from Delta Team Tactical as, part of enforcing their patent. I get all that. It is a 3-position trigger. We got good stuff on the way. Now, they are kind of expensive, but you have to look at it, in my opinion, as, $500 cassette trigger, that's a lot. Compared to a transferable MG, not so much. And it is the only legal way that you can get that kind of capability these days. What I'm really excited about is what is coming next. So, Lawrence DeMonico just did an interview with James Reeves of TFB TV. Kind of love his channel. He's got a great sense of humor, and he gets a lot of the right people on his channel. He did this interview with Lawrence DeMonico, and one of the biggest things that came out in that interview to me, thing that I didn't already know because the rest of it was pretty well-known information, I feel like, is that they already have an FRT trigger in production for the MP5 and the AK. And that makes me very excited. I've shot a full auto MP5. If you've shot one, you know it is a sublime experience. And you got to think about the fact that if you put an FRT in something, it isn't only the cost of the FRT, the $500 trigger. There's going to be an associated ammo cost there too. And 9mm is a lot cheaper than 5.56.
We already have designed, developed, and patented models for, say, the MP5.
Don't get me wrong, I am absolutely excited about FRTs that can go in 5.56 rifles, the AR platform. In fact, I'd love to put one in my AR9 for many of the same reasons that I want one in the MP5. But there is a big difference between a direct blowback 9mm AR and the MP5 with its roller delayed blowback, especially when it comes to rapid fire. Now, I do have a super safety coming to the channel soon, and I am going to try to run it in this AR9. One of the big reasons for that is that ammo cost. Now, I have no problem going out and shooting every weekend and filming range footage to make videos for you guys on this channel. But at the same time, that means that I do already go through a lot of ammo. Shooting an FRT, you're gonna go through a lot of ammo just to film one video, or for those of you that don't have a YouTube channel, just to go out and have a fun range day. I have a, a binary trigger in one of my ARs. In fact, one that's not even behind me here. And even that, when I first got it, it is amazing how fast you can dump a 29-round YouTube compliant magazine. You go through ammo very quickly, and that gets very expensive. Well, with an FRT, you go through it even quicker. It just is what it is. Now, of course, you can shoot short bursts. There's a lot of things you can do with it, but I know that a lot of people are gonna mag dump this kind of stuff. It is unfortunate that 7.62 by 39 isn't as cheap as it used to be, because I would love to FRT the AK and just mag dump 10 cent per round steel cased ammo. Unfortunately, those days are behind us. But a lot of these things, you grow up watching movies and stuff with firearms in them, and they always have full auto when it comes to an MP5, full auto when it comes to an AK. Well, we can't get full auto. You could buy a transferable. I hope you got $100,000. But we can get something that is pretty close and that is legal. And that is a force reset trigger. And I'm very excited about that. And we're going to talk about the MP5 one in particular in just a minute, because people are already putting super safeties in MP5s, but they're having to use one of the least sporting lowers or something similar that lets you install an AR trigger group in it. That's a great way to do that. It's very cool. You actually, an AR trigger is better than an MP5 trigger. The AR safety is in a better location. I get all that. But you lose the aesthetic of the MP5. This video is sponsored by Venice AI. Do you ever wonder what ChatGPT does with your conversations? We all know that our phones, Alexa, everything like that, listens to our conversations and then advertises to us based on what we say. Well, what else are these things doing with our personal information? They're selling it to third parties, including governments. In fact, the director of the NSA, the former director, is now sitting on the board of ChatGPT, which is why I'm using Venice AI. Venice AI is an AI software. It uses open source software that you don't have to download. It goes straight to your web browser, but the biggest thing is that it's private and permissionless. And so you don't have to worry about them selling your information to anybody else, which is kind of why it's a big deal to me. I like privacy, even though I show everything that I do on a YouTube channel. My daughter, she's 13. She uses AI for all kinds of things these days. She's been writing stories with it. She's been making music with it. It is incredible what you can do with AI. It's a very powerful tool, but keep your privacy while you use it with Venice AI. I like the Pro plan personally. It just gives you a lot more that you can do, and you can get a 20% off on your Pro plan if you sign up using my link. That is venice.ai/sawtooth-tactical. Use that code to get 20% off. The code is sawtooth-tactical. Now, before our little ad break there, I was talking about the aesthetic of the MP5 because that's very important to me. I mean, I literally put this one together for a specific aesthetic. I don't even have an M-LOK handguard on here because I wanted the aesthetic of the vertical foregrip. I wanted the MP5 to look like this, and part of that is the MP5 lower, the trigger housing. And so you could put a Lee Sporting or other, kind of MP5 lower that'll accept AR trigger groups and AR safety selectors. And those do kind of bring the MP5 into the modern era, because while the MP5 is super cool and has really soft recoil, it's a really fun gun to shoot. It's a great gun to suppress with the roller delayed blowback action. It's just fantastic in every way, except for the trigger is heavy and squishy and long, and there we go. And the safety is just not nearly as easy to use as like an AR-15 safety, which many of us are used to. And so I get that. But to me, some guns, a lot of it is about the aesthetic. And an AK and an MP5 are guns like that to me. Same with the 1911. I mean, my 1911 is like my only pistol without an optic. Aesthetic. I don't really want to put a Lee Sporting lower on my MP5. I haven't even modernized my AK because I love the classic AK aesthetic. I love the classic MP5 aesthetic too, but of course, I wish that it had the third position capability. I've shot a full auto MP5 and it was a fantastic experience. It is a very controllable gun in rapid fire, and suppressed, I mean, it would just be absolutely amazing. And so they already have triggers for the MP5 and for the AK already in production, is what Lawrence DeMonico said when he was in that conversation with James Reeves, that interview that he did.
You've got a lot of models coming out.
That's right. So we currently have 2 models for the AR that are in production, and we've got a model for the AK-47 that's in production, and we've got one for the MP5 in production. We have a handful of others that are still in late stages of development, but they're not far behind.
That is what I'm very excited about. I will pay, honestly, whatever it costs to get a 3-position FRT for the MP5. I already want to upgrade this trigger anyway. The trigger on this thing is not fantastic. I feel like it's the only thing that holds me back from shooting it faster, to be quite honest, because the recoil on this thing is so easy to manage that you can keep your sights on target and you can pretty much go as fast as you want, even transitioning from target to target. But you do notice your trigger finger getting tired, which you don't with like an AR or a 2011, something with a really good light crisp trigger. And so I'd already been looking at the Timney 2-stage trigger for this thing. I'd been looking at the Franklin Armory binary trigger, because both of those are just trigger packs that go in the housing. They don't change the way it looks, but they do change the way that the trigger functions. The Timney is just a semi-automatic trigger, but 2-stage. The Franklin Armory is a binary trigger, which I've scratched the binary itch. I have one in 11.5-inch AR, 5.56 AR, and it was a lot of fun when I first got it. I rarely shoot it in binary mode anymore. I feel like I would maybe more with an MP5. For one, dumping 9mm being a lot cheaper than a rifle round to shoot a lot of very quickly. But for two, the low recoil, I feel like you could probably binary it pretty fast and pretty effective. But at the same time, compared to an FRT, binary is obsolete technology. And so I am very excited for the Rare Breed MP5 platform FRT trigger. Now, of course, knowing me, you get one suppressor, now I'm getting like my 6th and 7th this week or something. One SBR, I've got 5 now. One AR, I've got 5 or 6 now. One 2011, I like these things. And so at some point, we'll probably see force reset triggers in many of the platforms that I own, and we'll do videos on all of them and how they run. But I gotta admit, the one that I am the most excited about is the MP5 trigger. Biggest reason is the MP5 is, like I said, one of the most controllable, easy, just enjoyable guns to shoot rapidly, quickly, like a force reset trigger does, or like a third position. I'm trying to be careful with my words because of YouTube. But for two, also 9mm just doesn't cost as much as rifle rounds. And so to me, that would also make it more enjoyable. When you're dumping a whole stick of 9mm 29 rounds versus 29 rounds of 5.56, there is a big cost difference there. And when you're doing many mags in a day, especially to film a YouTube video, there's a huge cost difference there. So the MP5 trigger is what I'm very excited about, and I just kind of wanted to bring you guys that news. In case you didn't see that interview, force reset triggers are not only going to be for ARs. MP5s, AKs coming as well. It sounds like as well as CZ Scorpions, which kind of some of the same benefits as the MP5 there. You don't get the same roller delayed, feeling, but at least 9mm cheaper ammo to blow through, which is kind of nice. And he's had a few others that are just behind, not quite in production stage yet. But this apparently is in production as well as that. And so I think that that is pretty exciting. I think that that is worth my money. So hopefully I can get one when they come on the site, because those kinds of things do sell out very quickly. But let me know down in the comments, what kinds of FRT are you excited about? Do you think it's ridiculous to spend $500 on a trigger? Would you rather do a Lee Sporting lower, with a super safety, push button safety, and get that same kind of capability, but just have a different looking lower on your MP5 with honestly a better trigger and safety? Or would you rather keep the MP5 aesthetic and put a 3-position Rare Breed in it and have it look like an MP5 should, pay a little more for the trigger, but get that same capability? Because honestly, to me, part of the draw of an MP5 is the way that it looks. I think that this is a very, very cool looking gun. I think the same thing about the AK. Like I said, there's a reason my AK is not all tacticaled out like all my ARs are. The MP5, I want it to look like an MP5, but I want it to have that forced reset capability. But I want to know what you guys think. So let me know down in the comments, which one are you the most excited about? AR-15, AK, MP5, CZ Scorpion, something else entirely? Or would you rather, just spend less money and go with the super safety? Or do you think that all of this is just stupid and a big waste of money and ammo? I want to hear from you guys. And it really helps the algorithm when you comment. YouTube demonetizes like all of my videos now. So anything that we can do to beat the algorithm is a huge help, because demonetized videos don't get shown to people because YouTube doesn't make money off them either. And so they don't care to like push them out there to the public. So if you can like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that stuff, it really does help me and it's really appreciated. From Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.